Hey guys, so the Remote Duel YCS for all regions concluded this past weekend, and I thought I'd try to find as many deck lists from the top cut as possible and summarize the most played hand traps and staples. Now, as I was compiling my own list of deck profiles I found, I ended up coming across a spreadsheet of lists compiled by Drytron, which was much better, so huge thanks to him. He also has a Discord called the Vault Guys, so make sure to check that out for your Yu-Gi-Oh needs. So before I begin, some more thanks I want to say. Other than Drytron, another big thanks to Jeebus McAsian on Reddit for summarizing the YCS top cut breakdowns very nicely. The European top 32 breakdown was thanks to Raiden Trade and Farfa, and Raphael provided the data for the South American top cut, and he has a YouTube channel as well, so go check him out. Lastly, credits to Luke Connolly for being the first to post the top 32 breakdowns for all regions except Central America on Zodiac Duelist. If I missed anyone, apologies in advance, it certainly was not intentional. So let's start with the top 32 breakdown for Europe, and throughout all of the regions you are basically going to see a whole lot of Tri-Brigade, followed by Drytron and other decks like Prank Kids, Virtual World, and Dogmatika Invoked Shaddoll. Madolche notably made top cut in the European YCS, and Raphael Nevin won the entire event with Tri-Brigade, who of course is a very well known player. As for North America, a whole lot more different decks in top cut. We had more representation of Sky Striker and a lot of one-ofs like Mech Knight Orchis, Phantom Knight, and Cyber Dragon by yours truly. Pac won the entire event with Prank Kids, so huge congrats to him, and make sure to check out his channel if for some reason you are not following him already. Next for South America, again, similar breakdown of the top decks, but I think a few decks that stood out in top cut were Raid Raptors, Mystic Mind Burn, and also Infernoid. Andreas Torres won the whole event with Drytron, so he can add this onto his long list of accomplishments. Lastly, in Central America, we unfortunately had 8 decks that were unknown, so we are going to have to roll with that. One notable deck in top cut that was not seen in other regions was Altergeist, and who knows what other rogue decks there may have been in the 8 unknown decks. Alexis won the entire event with Tri-Brigade as well, so big congrats to him. Now if you were to add up all of these top 32 breakdowns from the 4 regions, you get something like this. Tri-Brigade of course comes at the top, but you have Drytron and Dogmatika Invoked Shaddoll tied for second place. Dogmatika Invoked Shaddoll did not see a lot of top cut representation in North America and Europe, but did see a good turnout in Central and South Americas. Now in terms of the deck lists that were publicly available to do the analytical breakdowns for the remaining parts of the video, this is how much that could be hunted down at the time that I recorded the video. In Europe and North America, a good amount of deck lists could be found, but for Central and South Americas, only about half could be found. So overall, there's 86 deck lists of the 128 top cut lists included in this video, so roughly about 2/3 of all lists. So if you recall, this was the breakdown of the top cut among all regions combined. If I were to recreate the distribution based on the 86 deck lists available, it looks like the graph on the right here. So luckily, the distribution is by and large very close to the actual breakdown, so this is a good sign as it does not seem like we are over or underrepresenting some decks by a large margin. Now in terms of the median number of hand traps played by per deck, and I am just going to show the 5 most played decks in top cut here, you see that Tri-Brigade and Prank Kids both had a median of 12 hand traps in the main deck, which is pretty insane. Drytron had the lowest at 3, and I actually included Orange Heralds as hand traps for this video, even though in my last LCS analysis I did not. Overall, among all 86 lists, the number of hand traps in the main deck ranged from 0 to 15, with a median of 11 hand traps, which is quite high. In the side deck, it ranged from 0 to 11 cards, with a median of 6 hand traps in the side. Next, let's look at the number of Backrow hate cards like Twin Twisters, Lightning Storm, and Red Reboot in the side deck. So generally, you see about 4 cards in the side regardless of the deck, and among all 86 lists, the median was 0 Backrow removal in the main. In the side, looks like the median number was 4 Backrow removal cards for all 86 lists, ranging from 1 to 7. Now let's cover the most played hand traps and staples, and I typically do top 10, but this time I'm gonna do top 15 as we have a lot of deck lists to work with. So at number 1, no surprise, it is Ash Blossom, being main decked in 72 lists and just 1 list that played it in the side. Very versatile and can pretty much hit any deck. Next we have Droll Lockbird, which mostly saw play in the side deck and being primarily used for Drytron. At third we have Nibiru with 61 of the 86 lists playing it. In my LCS breakdown video, Nibiru actually was not played too much, but looks like with the YCS event, it was actually pretty popular among the top cut lists. Another really popular hand trap right now is Ghost Spell, which is useful against Drytron and very impactful against Tri-Brigade Revolt if they could not set up Appaloosa. We also have Impermanence being seen in 53 lists, which has become very popular in this format because it is very good against Tri-Brigade. Then we have Gamma, which pretty much always sees play in Tri-Brigade lists, although this card isn't as widely played as it once was a few formats ago. Lancia is still seeing some good amount of play as well, with all 31 lists citing it if they played it. Another popular effect negation and effect failure was played widely, and this card can be useful for prank hits since they may possibly draw it off of prank hit pranks effect, and it serves better than Imperm in that scenario because they would of course control cards, so you wouldn't be able to use Imperm from hand, whereas you could use Veiler in that situation. DD Crow was relatively popular as well. Being able to banish a card versus Drytron could be handy, but being able to banish Engage would be just straight up devastating. Similar to that concept, Cycle Reader saw play in almost a quarter of the list because of its utility against Drytrons. Then we have Phantasme, which is still live against most decks, even if Dragon Link may not be tier 1. I also have Orange Heralds on here at 13 lists, and it was all Drytron of course, except there was actually a Madolche list that also main decked Orange Heralds. We then have Skullmeister, which was not as popular as some may have thought it'd be, being seen in 10 lists, and then we have some more hand traps that really did not see much play at all, such as Contact C, and cards like Dimension Shifter, Ghost Ogre, Ghost Mourner, and Ghost Sister were seen in just one of the 86 lists collected. Now let's move on to the most played staples. At number 1 was Call by the Grave. Even at limited, this card is going to see a lot of play, and let me know what you think whether this should be taken off of the list. And then we have some backrow removal in Harpy's Feather Duster and Twin Twisters, both seen in 55 of the 86 lists, and surprisingly we had 12 lists main decking Feather Duster. Next we have Imperial Order, seen in almost half of the list, which is a given with any Tri-Brigade list, but not limited to them either, as plenty of other decks still run it because it is just a blowout card. I personally hope this gets banned, even though I play it myself in the side deck. Cosmic Cyclone was another popular backrow removal, although looks like at the moment it is taking a backseat to Twin Twisters. Dino Wrestler Pancratos was quite popular as well, with 7 lists even main decking the card. Anti-Spell Fragrance, while not as powerful as Imperial Order, is still a blowout card on its own as well and was seen in 33 lists, all in the side. Triple Tactics Talent is another card that you typically expect to see, especially in decks that are playing Call by the Grave, and was mostly main decked. Forbidden Droplet was seen in a little over a quarter of the list as well, and unlike in the LCS, looks like we're not seeing any Forbidden Chalice. Red Reboot is another backrow hate card that was used in a lot of decks, and it's certainly the best bet we have against most control decks. We also have Evenly Match coming in at 11th, which we have not seen much play in a while since the release of Lightning Storm and the unbanning of Feather Duster. Dark Roller No More is not as popular at the moment. I think with effect negation you're probably better off with hand traps like Imperm or Veiler, and Droplet is perhaps a better option right now as well. Solemn Strike is typically the player's go-to choice for counter traps, and Solemn Judgment was also seen in about 13 lists. We have Lightning Storm being seen in 15 lists with only one main decking it, which I guess that was me. Lastly, I saw a good number of Gamma Seals being played in the side deck as well, so it looks like it is regaining its spot as the favorite kaiju. Alright guys, so that was a whole lot of data, so thanks for sticking around. If you enjoyed data related content like this video, then make sure to subscribe and share the video to your friends. Take care guys.